I remember the morning they gave my office away. It was a Monday around 9:30. I walked in with my usual cup of black coffee and saw my nameplate missing from the door. At first, I thought maybe maintenance had removed it for cleaning. But then I noticed a new sign. Ms. Amanda Brooks, marketing consultant. That wasn't me. Inside, I found a young woman sitting at my desk, typing on my computer, her designer bag sitting exactly where my planner used to be. She looked up, smiled, and said, "Oh, you must be Sarah. I was told you'd moved your things already." Moved my things? I just stood there trying to process it. After 6 years at this company, no one had told me I was being replaced, or relocated, or anything. A few seconds later, my boss, Mr. Grayson, appeared in the doorway with that awkward smile managers use when they know they've done something wrong but don't want to admit it. He said, "Sarah, I was going to come find you. We made some adjustments. Amanda will be using this office for now." For now. Those 2 words stung more than I expected. I didn't even ask why, I already knew the reason. Amanda was young, loud, confident. The kind of woman who always seemed to know the right people. She'd only been here a week, but somehow she already had a private office, a company laptop, and everyone's attention. Meanwhile, I'd been here 6 years, worked weekends, handled emergencies, even covered for my boss more times than I could count. And now, I was being told to move out of my own space without a conversation. I forced a smile. "I see. And where would you like me to work from now?" Grayson gestured vaguely down the hall. "There's a free cubicle near the copy room. It's temporary, we're reorganizing." Temporary. That word again. Funny how everything temporary in this company somehow lasted forever, except respect. I carried my things down the hall, one box at a time. No one helped. Not that I expected anyone to. People don't like getting involved when something unfair happens. They prefer pretending it's none of their business, until it becomes their turn. As I walked past my coworkers, I could feel the silence. The kind that fills the air when everyone knows what's happening, but no one dares to say anything. I caught someone whisper, "That's rough. She was here before half the department." Yeah, I was. And apparently that didn't matter anymore. When I finally set my box down at the cubicle, I looked around. It was small, dusty, and right next to the printer. A constant whirring noise that made it impossible to think. My new office. I sat there for a moment, staring at the half-empty coffee cup in my hand, thinking about all the nights I'd stayed late, making sure presentations were perfect, making sure deadlines were met. All for what? To be replaced without a word. At lunch, Amanda stopped by my cubicle with her perfect smile. "Hey Sarah. I just wanted to say I'm so sorry about the office mix-up. I hope there are no hard feelings." "Hard feelings?" She continued. "You know how it is. The company wanted me closer to management while I handle the new campaign. I guess they thought my background made sense for the role." I looked up at her and asked, "Your background? You mean your 2 months of consulting?" Her smile faltered for half a second, then she laughed. "Oh, you're funny. Anyway, I'll be sure to ask if there's a better space for you soon." That was the moment I knew I was done. Not angry. Not bitter. Just done. You see, when you've been disrespected enough times, there's this quiet point where the anger fades. And what replaces it is clarity. That evening I stayed late. Not to finish work, but to pack. Every photo, every notebook, every sticky note. I even left behind the small plant by the window. It was half dead anyway, like my motivation. As I carried my final box to the elevator, Mr. Grayson passed by. He looked surprised. "You're heading out already?" "No," I said. "I'm heading out for good." He frowned. "Wait, Sarah, don't make this personal. It's just business decisions. You understand." I smiled, the calmest smile I'd ever given him. "Of course, Mr. Grayson. It's not personal." The doors closed before he could respond. I didn't quit out of anger. I quit because I realized my loyalty was being wasted. Over the next few weeks, I joined a smaller marketing firm. They didn't have fancy offices or catered lunches, but they had something my old company didn't: respect. They valued my ideas, trusted my experience, and gave me room to lead. I poured everything I had into their next campaign: the late nights, the long calls, the attention to detail. And it worked. 2 months later, our firm won a massive contract, the same client my old company had been courting for years. When I saw the client's name on the deal, I almost laughed. Fate really had a sense of humor. A week after the deal was announced, my phone rang. It was Mr. Grayson. He started with small talk, pretending to be cheerful. "Sarah, how have you been? We heard you've been keeping busy." I let him talk for a minute before asking, "So what can I do for you?" He cleared his throat. "We were hoping you could consult with us, maybe help fix a few things with the campaign. Things haven't been going as planned." I already knew what things meant. Amanda's project had flopped. "I see," I said calmly. "And what exactly would you need me to do?" "Just a few meetings, maybe lead the client presentation again. You always had a great touch with them." I smiled. "You're right. I did." Then I paused, letting the silence hang. "But Mr. Grayson, you said once that it's not personal, it's business. And right now my business is competing with yours." He tried to respond, but I ended the call. I didn't need revenge. Not really. I didn't need to see Amanda fail or watch my boss panic. What I needed, what I got, was peace. Walking away from that place was the best decision I ever made. Because sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't about payback. It's about proving that you never needed them to begin with. Now every time I pass by my new office, my real office with my name on the door, I smile. Not because I won, but because I left with dignity. So when people tell me, "It's not personal, it's just business," I smile and think, "You're right." And business is exactly what I made it. After I hung up on Mr. Grayson, I just sat there for a while. My phone screen still lit up, his number fading into silence. I didn't feel angry, I felt validated. For years, I'd worked myself to exhaustion for that company. I thought if I just stayed loyal, they'd see my worth. But loyalty doesn't mean much in a place that only values appearances. And Amanda, the new hire, was all about appearances. A few days later, I ran into Mark, one of my old coworkers. He spotted me at a cafe downtown and came over, looking half guilty, half excited. "Sarah, wow, it's been a while. I was just talking about you at work last week." I smiled politely. "Oh, still surviving the chaos?" He laughed. "Barely. You wouldn't believe it. The new campaign completely crashed. They overpromised, underdelivered. Amanda's been in meetings nonstop trying to fix it." I raised an eyebrow. "Meetings don't fix strategy." He grinned. "Exactly what I said. Honestly, everyone misses you. Even Grayson pretends he doesn't, but we know." I took a slow sip of my coffee. "Miss me or miss my free overtime?" Mark smirked, then leaned closer. "You didn't hear this from me, but the client that canceled? They signed with your new firm." I nodded slowly. "Yeah, I heard." There was a silence between us, the kind that holds both pride and regret. Finally, Mark said, "You did the right thing leaving, Sarah. The place hasn't been the same since." I looked out the window, sunlight glinting off the glass towers outside. "It's funny," I said. "Sometimes you have to lose something to realize how small it really was." 2 weeks later, our new client invited our team to dinner. A celebration of the campaign's success. It was at a fancy downtown restaurant, the kind my old company used to brag about but never actually paid for. Halfway through dinner, the client's marketing director leaned toward me and said, "You know, your old company pitched to us before. But when we saw your name on this proposal, the choice was easy." I blinked, surprised. "Really? You remembered me?" "Of course. You were the only one who actually listened. The rest just tried to sell." That hit me. For years, I'd been told I was too quiet, too soft, too careful. Turns out that's exactly what made people trust me. When the dinner ended, I walked out feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time: pride without exhaustion. A month later, an email arrived in my inbox. Subject line: Consulting Opportunity, Grayson and Company. For a second, I almost laughed out loud. It was from Amanda. "Hi, Sarah. I hope you're doing well. Mr. Grayson suggested I reach out. We're restructuring our marketing department and would love your insight. Maybe we could discuss possible collaboration." I read it twice, then 3 times. Part of me wanted to ignore it completely. Another part, the calm, strategic part, thought, no. Let's end this properly. So I replied, "Hi, Amanda. Thank you for the message. I appreciate the offer. Unfortunately, my current firm doesn't collaborate with competitors. But I wish you all the best as you restructure. Sarah. A polite knife. Sharp, clean, and silent. 3 weeks later, fate decided to amuse itself. I was invited to a business summit, a networking event for marketing executives. And guess who was on the same guest list? Mr. Grayson. And Amanda. When I arrived, I noticed them from across the room. They looked different. A little smaller. A little less sure of themselves. Amanda saw me first. Her smile froze midair. Grayson tried to wave awkwardly. I walked over, calm as ever. Mr. Grayson. Amanda. How's business? He chuckled nervously. Oh, you know how it is. Challenging times, tight markets, clients changing expectations. I'm sure, I said. But I suppose that's business, right? He looked at me for a moment, the realization finally hitting him. Sarah, you've done well for yourself. I learned from the best, I said softly. Then after a pause I added, and from the worst. Later that night as I sat in my car, I replayed the whole evening in my mind. Seeing them didn't bring satisfaction, not in the dramatic movie-style sense. It brought closure. I thought about how close I'd come to breaking down that day I lost my office. How humiliated I'd felt standing there with my box of things. And now here I was, not angry, not bitter, just free. People think revenge is loud, that it's shouting, exposing, humiliating. But the best kind of revenge doesn't make noise. Simply proves. A few days after the summit, I got another call. This time from someone unexpected. Lydia, the HR manager from my old company. She sighed before speaking. Sarah, I know this is random, but I wanted to apologize for how things ended. You don't owe me an apology, Lydia. Maybe not, but I owe you honesty. We were told to make room for Amanda. Grayson said it was temporary, but we both knew it wasn't. I didn't agree, but I didn't fight it either. And I should have. Her voice cracked a little. You deserved better. For the first time I felt something shift, not revenge, not pride. Forgiveness. Thank you, Lydia, I said quietly. That means more than you think. We said goodbye, and when the call ended I realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. And that was my real victory. 6 months later my firm moved to a new building. When they handed me the keys to my new private office, I noticed something. It was almost the same size as my old one. But this time the name on the door was mine, and no one could take it away. I stood there, running my fingers over the engraved letters. Sarah Miller, head of strategy. It wasn't just an office. It was proof that walking away doesn't mean losing. Sometimes it's the only way to win with grace. Sometimes people ask if I ever wanted to see Amanda fail. Honestly, no. She didn't need to fail for me to succeed. What I wanted and what I finally found was peace. Because the best revenge isn't about destroying someone else. It's about building yourself into someone who doesn't need their validation. So yes, they said it wasn't personal. But for me, it became the most personal lesson of my life. And in the end, business was the very thing that taught me how to let go.